Well, hey guys, welcome. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. This is the show actually for Thursday. So a little bit of glitch. Basically, we switched to a new provider. I think I told you guys we were having some trouble with Restream, and we switched to a new provider, and getting used to some of their stuff. Unfortunately, when we did it the first time, it didn't work well. So we are redoing Thursday night show again. All right, guys, it's great to be with you. Our master topic for the week, I'm sure you guys know what that is, all about the hidden rules of success that no one tells you. And tonight's granular topic is a really, really good one. You know what that is? Well, its value is not always in order. And if you're new here for the very first time, I want to take this opportunity to personally welcome you to Inspirations for Your Life. If you're coming back, definitely, guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And thank you. If you're thirsty, feel free to go grab yourself something like some water. I have my RO here. Or perhaps maybe you want a snack. It could be fruit, it could be a beverage, it could be something hot, something cold, salty, sweet, healthy or not. That's totally up to you. And don't forget to check out believemeachieve.com, guys, after the show. 24 hours a day, we are around to surf up some amazing content to improve the quality of your life. All right, guys, let's get started because I've got so much to share with you. All right. As I said, welcome back to Inspirations for Your Life, the podcast that helps you see the world through new lenses. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, video producer, graduate student, marketing specialist, passionate lifelong learner, engineer, and much more. And it's a privilege to be with you guys tonight. So, when we think about all this stuff, right? We think about different things. Every week, I bring you thought provoking ideas, stories, and of course, strategies to help you live a more inspired, intentional, and fulfilling life, right? And tonight, I'm diving into a powerful truth value isn't always in order. In life, we often assume that what comes first must be most important, or that sequence somehow dictates worth. But the real story is much deeper than that. True value, guys, often hides and emerges later, or I should say, reveals itself only after we've walked through the challenges. So, tonight, let's explore 20 transformational insights that I think will definitely help you to break free from the trap of order and discover meaning where you least expect it. Are you ready? I know I am. All right, guys, let's kick this off. Number one, first isn't always best. Let me say that again. The first isn't always best. No, the first isn't always best. So, what do I mean by that? So, we're taught from a young age that being first means being the winner, the best, or the most valuable. But life doesn't always work that way, folks. Sometimes the first solution is just the easiest, not the most effective. The first impression can be misleading, and the first attempt may lack depth. True excellence often comes after refinement, growth, and of course, persistence. Number two, order doesn't equal importance. Let me say that again. Order doesn't equal importance. The way something is presented doesn't automatically define its value. Just because something shows up early doesn't mean it carries any more weight or significance than something else. Think of a book. The introduction is important, but the most profound lessons may come in the middle or even the very last page or chapter of the book. What's hidden can hold, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest value. Like a seed underground. The most important things in life often start unseen. See, we sometimes overlook quiet contributions, hidden talents, or invisible acts of kindness. Yet these are the very things that grow into lasting impact. Ready for number four? I know you are. The smallest step may spark the biggest change. And change doesn't always come from massive leaps. A tiny decision, a small act of courage, or a single kind word can shift the entire trajectory of your life. Don't underestimate the small beginnings because they can have massive, exponential success trails. Number five, guys, later lessons often matter most. Some of the most important wisdom we gain comes after struggle, after failure, or after years of trial. Life saved its deepest lessons for later chapters. The last parts of story that we read often carry, well, the most weight, right? And let's dive to number six. Sequence does not equal significance. Sequence does not equal significance. All right. So order is simply arrangement. It doesn't define meaning. I remember being in grammar school, and everyone would always fight to want to be number one in line. And like, what's the difference? We're all going to the same place. Like, what's the real big deal? And people would just like rush up to get to number one. And I remember one time I was just walking, not even trying to be first, but I happened to walk up and I was going to be first. And this kid, like, just thought, oh, you're not going to be first. I'm like, okay, no big deal. It's not a really big deal. Order is something that we've been programmed by our parents and by society to believe that because it's first, it's the best. But that doesn't mean that. Whether you achieve your goal at age 25 or even later, its significance lies not in when it happened, but how it shaped you and others around you. Number seven, guys, true worth reveals itself over time. Some things, like fine wine or perhaps lasting friendships, they grow more valuable the longer they endure. Initial appearances might be ordinary, but time has a way of unveiling real worth. Number eight, guys, don't confuse speed with value. So many people do this, whether it's a car or things like that. And there's a time when speed is important. Maybe you're buying a printer and you need a lot of pages printed. So maybe a printer that prints 40 pages a minute is a lot better from you than a printer that prints eight. So there's a value to it. It's not necessarily the speed, it's the fact that you can be more productive. So is it the speed that's the value? It's really the productivity and how quickly you can get things done. But it's not just the speed, right? I think that's important to realize. Moving fast can feel like progress, but speed doesn't always equal success. Slow, deliberate growth often creates stronger foundations than quick wins that collapse under pressure. And I've seen this happen so many times. People are like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And they don't know what to do. Number nine, guys, meaning shows up in unexpected places. If we can be open to things happening where we least expect them, we'll find some amazing treasures in life. Some of life's richest lessons come not in grand achievement, but in quiet, ordinary moments that we have, like a conversation with a stranger or a sudden moment of clarity while driving home. These are the things we need to cherish, these types of times. Number 10, guys, the last may be the most lasting. That's weird, isn't it? Let me explain that. We often dismiss what comes last as least important, but sometimes it's the grand finale that leaves the deepest impression. The last words in a speech, the closing scene in a movie. These are what people remember. I know so many times they're like, I want to be first to speak, I want to be last to speak. And so people think that being first means that's the best. I've had times when I'm last and I'm actually getting a standing ovation. Okay. It's what we get people to remember. The last might stick in somebody's head, but if I do something that's going to get you so excited and so curious, you're not going to forget me, whether I was first or I was last. Number 11, guys, value grows when the timing is right. Yes, it does. Just like flowers bloom only in their season. The true value of something appears when the timing aligns. See, patience allows value to blossom at just the right moment. We sometimes call this divine timing, right? Number 12, guys, order is structure, not substance. So, order helps organize ideas, but it doesn't measure or predicate their meaning. I think that's important to understand. The outline of a talk or a list of priorities doesn't determine the importance of each item. It only gives structure to how we process them. Are you guys ready for number 13? Sure you are. Impact isn't tied to position. Impact isn't tied to position. Where something appears in a lineup or maybe a timeline doesn't dictate its impact, a latecomer in a project may bring the breakthrough. A child born last in a family may change everything. Impact transcends the placement every single time. Number 14, guys, what seems minor may shift everything. Sometimes a small overlooked detail becomes, well, the very thing that changes the outcome for us. See, history is full of, let's say, minor and, well, major events that have altered the entire course of humanity. And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize. It's the smallest thing we do that's going to trip somebody's kindness. I think that is so priceless, guys. Number 15, timing doesn't dictate importance. Are you getting where I'm going with this? Timing doesn't dictate importance. And I know somebody will disagree with me and say, "Oh, John, you don't understand." I'm like, "No, I do understand. It's you that doesn't understand. Timing doesn't dictate importance. Whether it's something happening early, late, or right on time, its value lies not in the schedule, but in the meaning it carries. Some of the best things in life arrive late, yet turn out to be perfect. Number 16, first impressions can mislead. We're quick to judge by appearance. We shouldn't. Or initial moments. But first impressions are often incomplete. Their real understanding comes from deeper observation and time. And I think sometimes people get nervous and they don't give that great first impression. I always like to tell people, if it didn't go right the first time, that was just, we were just, kind of practicing. Can we do that again? Like, I was under a lot of pressure to meet you and all these things. Now that I know you, next time I can meet and I think it'll go a lot smoother. And that's important. Number 17, guys, Growth isn't linear, neither is value. See, progress happens in the ups and the downs, and value unfolds the same way. Some of your most meaningful achievements won't follow a straight path, but their non-linear journey is what makes them, well, powerful. I think that's something that a lot of people have a hard time grasping or maybe understanding. Number 18, guys, greatness often comes after struggle. The most valuable lessons and achievements usually arrive after hard work, setbacks, and perseverance. See, struggle is not the opposite of greatness, it's the doorway to it. And I think if we can put that into a frame of perspective, we're like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Number 19, don't chase order. Seek the meaning behind it. If we focus, ladies and gentlemen, only on order, we risk missing something much deeper, the meaning. But you see, meaning doesn't happen on the first meeting or the first introduction. Meaning doesn't happen on the first phone call. It just doesn't. Meaning doesn't happen the first time you bump into someone. You're just kind of like disoriented. Value lies, ladies and gentlemen, in purpose, not in position. I know that in our world, we're taught that somebody that has a high position, that position is nothing more than a title. And title in itself should not deserve respect. It's the person behind the title and how they act that means they have respect. Seek the why instead of the when. The why can get us so curious. The when just kind of gets us so stressed. Number 20, guys. The real treasure is often found later. Life's greatest rewards are rarely immediate, whether it's wisdom, it's love, or maybe it's success. The most precious reveal themselves at the right time, not necessarily the first moment that you're expecting. I'm sorry, guys, they just don't happen like that. And so when we can think about all this and we can think about the fact that, the order does not matter. I want to talk about something pretty interesting with order. So, in discrete mathematics, we have order for things, but I want to share something with you. How many have ever gone to, maybe you've gone to high school or grammar school and you were issued a combination lock? Yes, I know I have. And that combination lock, I still remember the lock I got in high school. It was a lock. It was like a master lock, came in the little box, and all our locks were all green. That's just what the school picked. And so they had a key on the back. They were all master keyed, so they can always get into anybody's locker very easily. But the interesting thing about a master lock, they're called combination locks. So the thing about combination locks is, you usually turn that dial a few times and then you come back and then you're ready to put your combination in. Now I bet they probably we could just put a button there instead of, I always hated turning that wheel several times. If they just put a little button that would just clear it, I think that would be a lot better and a lot easier. It would save so much time. Like, oh, we have to turn past 0 twice. Okay, now we can put the combination. That was always a pain. But we were actually lied to. See, a combination in math is when order doesn't matter. How many of you have a combination lock where the order doesn't matter? Nobody. They actually should be called permutation locks. So I'm going to give you a perfect example. So if order doesn't matter, we call it a combination. The combination locks kind of break that rule, right? I'm going to a bakery. They have 12 different types of donuts. I have a box that can hold 4 donuts. Out of the 12 donuts, there are 3, um, the first, let's say the first 3 types we have are raspberry, blueberry, and, let's just say cinnamon. The next set we have are, cruller, um, maybe a cream donut, right? Or perhaps, maybe a piece of crumb cakes and donuts. And the last one, let's say actually, not the last one, maybe we have a peach cruller, maybe we have a blueberry cruller, or maybe we have a cinnamon cruller. And the last set the last set of 3 would be a sticky bun, a, a breakfast, like they call them, like a breakfast, like a sweet dough bun, but not the same as the other. And then the last one maybe we have might be a raisin donut. So if I said to you, you can have 4, how many different ways can I have that? So if I said to you, where at least 2 of the items must be a or a sticky bun, that would mean that I would take the total 12, I take out the sticky bun, okay, and I would do 11, choose 4. Because I said at least 1, that means I can have a case of 0, which would be basically the 12, choose 4, or it would be, if it would the one case would be the 11, choose 4. So, how do we figure that out? In the case of the 12, choose 4, which means that, it doesn't matter, right? There's no relativity. It doesn't matter whether there are any or not. So they have to have at least. So if we do that way, then we know that, there's a 0, and then we also know the next one, there's a 1. So if we say there is a 0, okay, that there are 0, in that case, we basically say that there are 0, being chosen. That means we're going to do 11, choose 4. In the case of the other thing where there's 2, so I would then take it out, okay, and I would be choosing a little differently. So I still have my 4 donuts, right? But in the case of choosing 2, what do I have to do now? So we have to at least 2 of them, have to be this type, right? So what do? I take it and I subtract out and I get the same thing. And basically you use a factorial formula. So basically in the case of the one where there was no condition, where basically we said there has to be, if I said at least 1, that means it'd be a 1 to 2. If I said at most 1, then we'd have a 0 and we'd have a 1 condition. So in the case of, let's say the case where there is, maybe we have the 11, choose 4. It'd be 11 factorial divided by, basically, what we're choosing, 4 factorial, parenthesis, 11 minus 4. So 7, parenthesis, factorial, and that'll give us the number of combinations or ways that we can actually choose the donuts. Pretty cool, right? But that's a combination. A permutation is when the order matters. And I think this stuff is so fascinating, but sometimes our society gets brainwashed because the marketing people that try to put something out there, they brainwash us with the wrong information. So marketing isn't always correct, Marketing is meant to get something in your head to stick. That's pretty much what marketing is. But when you do it unethically, I find that can be a serious, serious problem. So, understanding now that order and value, the order doesn't matter. So, remember, everyone, value isn't always in order. And what comes first may not be the best. And what shows up last may be the most life changing. So keep your eyes open for hidden gems, small steps, later lessons, because those are often the ones with true transformation is going to lie. And so when we think about how this is going to work, I think the biggest thing where we talk about something not being, let's say, last or something like that, or being first. Maybe, for example, is you're making spritz cookies, and the first one coming out is terrible because the dough hasn't gotten to the right spots, and the first one just doesn't come out very well. So I think that's a really cool thing. But I know a lot of people they get so worked up because they're not first or because they're not in line first. I remember being at a carnival and I asked them, "Are you in line?" Of course I'm in line. Okay, no problem. Just asking. I was asking to be nice because I didn't want to cut them off. I was being nice. But then they take your head off, right? I mean, that just I'm sorry, guys. That just a little bit too much for me. But I get, ladies and gentlemen, that people sometimes they get this way because of maybe something that happened in their life, or maybe because of them having a bad day. I mean, there could be lots of reasons why things, right? I mean, so I know that when we think about these things, we have to remember that order is something that man made, that we've come up with, right? We've come up with that whole concept. But is the whole concept what we want? Or is that concept just something that's really an illusion? I think it's an illusion. A lot of our life is an illusion. What we perceive is what we're going to believe. And I know I'm going to get some people chiming in next week and saying, "Oh, John, I really loved that show where you talked about this. And I think that such and such is going to be a great guest." I appreciate that they're going to be a great guest, but they're still going to have to apply to get on the show. And they're going to have to realize one thing, that they have to watch the show, not the PR agency, not the media company. Have yourself a great rest of your night or day.